Hello YouTube, John here today with a little review video. This is gonna be on the APS ACP from APS, the Action Combat Pistol. Their version of a CO2 gas blowback, and this is their first version. They have now made a sort of an upgraded version, but still it's basically the same gun. I can show you. This is a standard Marui Generation 3 Glock gas blowback, and you can see it's really similar, but still there are some differences to it. The biggest difference on the APS ACP is of course the magazine. It's shooting with the CO2 instead of regular gas. So let's skip right to the magazine, and I'll tell you some things that I really don't like about this. First, it has these base plates that you will lose them in time. I've lost mine lots of times, and that's really why I've sort of dumped this pistol and gone back to regular gas blowback pistols, because having a gun that looks like this is it will get filled with dirt and all sorts of stuff when you're out on a skirmish. So that's really something I don't like. It does have these clever little end caps, and there's tons of videos on YouTube on how smart this is, and would it be a game changer? Would it be and no, it is better than the regular CO2 magazines that tends to get leaking up here in the top, but still these can leak too, and also the top valves on the magazine is also a source to leaking magazines, so it's not perfect. One more thing is, when you want to change the CO2 caps inside, of course you will unscrew these end caps, and you have to be absolutely sure that it's free of any pressure inside. So you have to release it, because or else it will be when you unscrew the end cap, one of the sides, you can see the base plate is sort of an angle to the whole threaded part here. So if you unscrew it with pressure in it, whenever the O-ring comes free of the threaded part, the pressure will push some of the O-ring out, and it will leave cut marks on the O-ring to make it leaking next time you put in CO2. Also, another problem to these magazines is that I think the whole inside here in the magazine is might be a little bit conical in shape, so some CO2 capsules won't fit. I tried with the ASG CO2 capsules, and they will fit right in. Also Swiss Arms CO2 capsules will fit right in, but the Crossman CO2 capsules, they'll get stuck right here, and you can't push it down or it will get really stuck, and you have to sort of pull them out with a pair of pliers or something. I have tried with a lot of different CO2 capsules, and this is some unnamed brand, but it'll also get stuck. So they might have improved this. I've read on some forums that it should be some people say that it is a fixed problem, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's just one thing I don't like. The pistol itself, the whole construction of the frame is really good. It has a really nice feel to it. It's a lot better than the standard Generation 3 Glocks, but it's not as good as the Generation 4 Glocks. but still I like it a lot, and it feels really good. Also, the plastic is it feels solid, and it's not flexing in any way down here in the bottom. It's a little more stiff than the Marui one, but that's just really nice. Also, you can see here a little bit of seam lines where the plastic has been joined together, but it's not much, and it feels okay. You don't feel any of the seam lines on this pistol. They've gotten rid of the original pointy Glock trigger guard here and sort of made it round, and that's really something that helps you a lot when you're using a certain type of holsters. Also, they've gotten rid of the sort of standard Glock rail and made a Picatinny rail, so you can mount any type of accessories. That's a huge improvement that I really welcome a lot. Also, the trigger, it feels okay, but when I push it, a bit of the skin on the finger here is sort of get a little bit pinched on the lower part of the trigger. So there's not much room here inside. If you're wearing gloves, you probably will have some problems get your fingers in, especially if you have large fingers. There's a safety switch or safety button here on the trigger, and that's something I like a lot. It's really easy to manipulate whenever you need to, and I think it's so good that you could probably use this on real pistols, but I guess you won't see that because I don't think that any of the firearms manufacturers that would think it's a good idea to touch the trigger whenever you're trying to activate the safety. So that's just it about that. Also, the trigger pull is okay. However, the hammer inside is some really crappy shit, and I've made another video about the hammer issue, but we'll look into that later. The slide is good. It's metal, and it feels really good. They've made their own serrations here on the front and the back, and this design is a little bit different than the original Glock. And also, you can see comparing the slide on the APS is more rounded. On the original Glock, it's like completely flat. So you can have some problems if you use certain types of holsters. It will fit in a Serpa holster, but some of the other Kydex or plastic holsters, you can have a little bit of a problem because it's a little bit bigger here on the top because of the round shape. Also, if you take a look at the sights, they've made sort of their own version of a 3-dot sight, and they are actually night sights or something like that. You can activate them with a flashlight, and they will glow a little bit in the dark, but it's not like a real night sight. But they're pretty okay, and they have made this little I don't know what it's called, but skull. But that's just a little something to make it their own, I guess. The whole what's it called, chamber area here, the paint's has worn off after use, so I've sanded it down and polished it, and that gives a lot less friction whenever the slide cycles. let's take a look on the inside. It is somewhat Marui compatible, but not all the dimensions are completely the same, so you probably have to make some modifications if you want to replace the parts internally. Also, these slides or rails that the slide rides on are a little bit thicker than let's say the standard Marui. You can get the slide on, but it's not riding perfect, so it's not 100% compatible. And in the back here, I've made another video on the whole hammer parts here, and it's the quality is just not good enough. It will fail at some point, and you have to change it. The barrel is I think it's pretty good. It's a steel barrel, the inner barrel inside, and I don't see any need to change it. But an improvement on the outer barrel is, of course, like I've done here, to get rid of the paint. And on the inside, there's a little sort of plastic knob. I don't know what if it's from the molding process or from painting or whatever, but I had to sand it down to make it work even better. Yeah. Besides that, barrel externally, internally is pretty okay. Hop-up unit pretty standard. All works fine. The I don't know what it's called. This little chamber here is sort of an enhanced model, and it can take the pressure from the CO2 a lot better than you see on the standard gas blowback Glock pistols. The whole spring for the slides and the guide rod here, whenever the paint sort of is wearing off, it will start to ride with a little bit of friction, and it's just you have to do whatever I've done here. You have to sand it down or change this, but remember to have a hard spring because of the bigger pressure from the CO2. Whenever the pistol does work, it in my experience it works fine, but when it starts to fail, it will fail you big time, and you have to make a lot of modifications to it. Externally, the quality is okay. Internally, the quality is not that good, but I like all the sort of innovations they've made to it. The rail, the trigger guard, the whole grip and the frame and the feel of it is a lot better. I like the safety, but the angle of the trigger is something I don't like. The compatibility with the standard Glocks is also okay, but you probably have to modify any type of parts you want to change in it. So it's an okay pistol. It's not perfect. They've made some good thoughts when they've made these magazines, but still they're not perfect. So give it a rating. I say okay, it's a 5 out of 10. But if they made it with a little more detail to quality and made some really nice fitting quality parts, it would probably have been a lot higher. So that's it. Okay pistol, some good innovative thoughts into it, but the quality is just not there. So that's it. nothing else to say, but get out and play some more airsoft. And until I see you next time, remember to have fun and enjoy the day. See ya.